Hello, everyone. Hello and good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Connected in 2022. My name is Megan. I am the Senior Brand Manager here at Wacom Technology, based out of Portland, streaming to you live from the Wacom Experience Center, and I am super excited for this evening's session. Thank you to everyone that's joining us online. I'm really excited. This is going to be great. We are rounding out today Humanity Day with an artist that I am very fond of, someone that I've known for a few years now, had the honor and privilege of knowing for a few years. Rafik Hariri is equal parts artist, dreamer, entrepreneur, author, and mental health advocate. He is a seasoned TEDx speaker. He's made it to the Forbes 30 Under 30 list and continues to write and illustrate gorgeous books that help readers of all ages cope with issues around mental health, personal identity, and other sorts of important topics. Wrapped up in a dreamy world of surrealist-inspired illustrations, Rafik's creative journey is truly inspiring and is as magical as it looks, as you all will see shortly. So Rafik, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm super excited.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So without further ado, we will get started. As a note for everyone in the chat, we will be doing Q&A at the end of the session, so please feel free to drop your questions in the chat. I will be gathering those, and then we'll do a little live Q&A session at the end. So thank you so much. Let's go ahead. Rafik, if you want to go ahead and pull up your screen, we'll
Awesome.
get
Thank you
this
so
show
much.
going. Thanks, y'all.
Just checking. Is this looking well?
That looks great. I'm going to
Amazing.
excuse
Thank you so
myself.
much, Megan. Thank you
Yeah,
so much for the
absolutely.
introduction. So, hi everyone. Thank you so much for having me. It's really nice being here, and I would love to share with you my story and just like give you a small idea of what I've been going through and how did it all came about. And yeah, so basically, my name is Rafik. I'm a graphic designer, I'm an illustrator, and also a university instructor. I come from a very small country called Lebanon, and even from a smaller city called Tripoli. Tripoli is a beautiful place. It's filled with controversy. It's where you can see the good, the bad. You can see the duality, a black and white. All of it, all what you can think about is always controversial. And maybe sometimes this isn't necessarily a good thing, but also this is what makes it really nice and what makes it really beautiful and dreamy. And being born and raised in Tripoli my entire life, it really gave me a sense of belonging, and it gave me that rooting in a way that I'm inspired always by the little things on a daily basis and the nostalgic feel to it. And like you can always see something new that is going on in Tripoli. And yeah, through that, I will be able to tell you how did I start and how did my creative journey came about, because honestly, it did not go in a linear way or a typical way, rather than just a little bit of everything. And it came into fruition, thankfully, and in a way that now I am who I am. At the beginning, around the ages 9, 10, I was always fond of drawing. I used to draw so many different things using so many different media in a way just to see exactly what do I like and what do I don't like, and what do I want to do with the skill that I keep growing and nurturing every year. And it started off with just drawing anything around me. Sometimes I would draw on paper, sometimes I would draw on cardboard, sometimes I would draw on tables. Actually, when in my school, I used to draw on my desk. And it felt nice. It felt really good. And it felt really interesting to be able to have this kind of outlet. But at the same time, it didn't really go in a specific direction, or I didn't do anything specific with it. And around high school, around like the senior year of high school, I was really falling back on grades, and I had like a genuine fear of not being able to do my senior year and failing. And I had this fear because in Lebanon, you do a senior year high school, and then you do immediately the first year of university. So I needed to take a break from drawing. I needed to take a step back and just really focus on my studies, because I actually sucked at school. Like I was good in certain subjects, but overall I was a bit of a slacker, and I fell back on my grades because of that. And around that time when I had the break, I needed to do something with my creative outlet. Like I finished high school, I'm gonna go into university, but I was still a bit afraid of going back into actually holding a pen and drawing. And I wanted to major in clinical psychology at university. But mom back then gave me an advice. She told me, listen, how about you do something creative first because you do have a skill and nurture it. If you feel like this isn't really what you want to do, then by all means go back to your first option, or you can do double major, but at least do something with that creative outlet. And around that time, I wanted to do something creative, but at the same time, I wasn't really encouraged yet to do drawing or to hold the pen and actually draw something out of thin air, so to speak. So I resorted to digital collage and analog collage. And for me, it was a way which was the middle ground between me not being encouraged enough to draw and still being able to do something creative. And it was really interesting to see like how you can alter two different realities and fuse them into one to make something. And this was really good. It made me explore the themes that I like. It made me explore the idea of what analog collage is and what digital collage is. But I was still like very new to the field of graphic design, and I didn't really know exactly what graphic design meant in general. And around that time, during the beginning of the second year of graphic design, my birthday was around that time, and my sister told me that this is for you as a birthday gift. So I looked at this product. I'm like, what is it? She told me, honestly, I have no idea. But the guy at the store told me that anyone who likes to draw, they can use this and they can do like digital work. And when I saw this, I'm like, okay, this is amazing. I never knew that there was something called digital art, or the fact that you can draw not using a typical pencil or pen and a paper. And for me, this was like the beginning of something really beautiful, because I personally believe if it wasn't for that particular moment, I would definitely later on during the years would be introduced to Wacom and digital art, but at the same time, it would have taken more time to actually get into it, to explore and to experiment. So it was a blessing, and at the same time, it felt like everything was falling into place. So I didn't really have a style back then. I was just experimenting with the whole hand-eye coordination. I was experimenting using different brushes and see like how my shaky hand would actually be a benefit rather than the inconvenience. And I had like my very modest social media back then, where I started like sharing shamelessly, and it felt really nice because I really didn't care about anything other than this is the sketch that I've done, this is the artwork that I've done, I'm just gonna post it and that's it. It felt really innocent, it felt really organic, really spontaneous. So it was a nice thing to have at the beginning of my creative endeavor. Around that time, I actually, someone reached out to me from the UK, and they work for a records company, and they told me, listen, we know you do some digital art. How about you do an animated lyric video? And this was literally my first illustration freelance gig. And as of today, I believe this video has exceeded 23 million views. So back then, when I saw that it was really getting a lot of views and a lot of good comments and good feedback, even though that I knew like in my heart that it wasn't really good, because you know, as a creative person, when you look at something that you've done, at first you like it and then you look at it and you nitpick it. So that was the case, but at the same time I felt like this is me, this is what I want to do, and this is the thing, this is my calling, this is exactly what I want to do for the rest of my life if I'm able to do that. And then the experimentation started. It felt like, okay, I know what illustration is now. I know what a style is. I know what I need to do with it. But how do I find the style of my own? How do I find my own visual identity, my own imprint? And I started experimenting with different colors, different textures, different themes that actually mean to me. I started to see what are the things that I would like to talk about, what are the things that are being repeated unconsciously, and things that maybe I'm not really visiting that much. And talking about the things that really matter, and like in a way that there's a storytelling aspect to it, and how am I able to do that. And then the style became to mature even more, and it felt like I'm not really looking for the style, it's more like the style is finding me automatically. And that led into more fruition and led into maturing, having a style that really matters and really feels that it reflects me, who I am as a human being, and what do I stand for, and what are the values, and what are the things that I like and I talk about. And the themes of dreams, the themes of the unconscious or the subconscious, the themes of love and companionship started to really pull through in a way that I'm looking at this, and this is exactly how I want to convey it. Even though at first hand, you might feel that this is a bit too surrealistic, or maybe it's more conceptual than an in-your-face approach. But this is how I felt. This is how it came out. And I felt like amazing, amazing. This is it. This is what I want to do. The drawing is coming back, inspiration is coming back. The things that I really want to do with this craft of mine, this is exactly how I want it to be. And it felt really gratifying because as a creative person, regardless, be it you being a poet, a writer, an author, an artist, any kind of creative outlet, it's not about how you do it. It's about having a need to do something. And when I saw that my need is matching my output, I felt, okay, this is the perfect recipe that I wanted. And then I started even pushing the themes further, talking about things that really, really matter to me. For example, I come from a family that is female led. And for me, this is something beautiful because it really gave me the chance and the space to feel a lot and to be okay, to feel all the spectrum of emotions, to have empathy. So feminism and the female figure in my life has been always a repeated subject in my drawings. Other than that, the childhood, because for me, even though I had a very visually rich childhood, but at the same time, everything happened too fast. So I felt like I grew up too fast. So I wanted to revisit childhood again, and I wanted to talk about being a child again. And it's really the thing that matters, because when you guard your inner child, it's really the most important thing in life. And it's the thing that really keeps you going and really gives you that flair and have that inner energy that you operate on. And along with that, I was really grateful and blessed enough to actually have the opportunity to work with different clients and different approaches. Like, for example, Vice, I did editorial work for Vice. And it was really nice the fact that they look for the style. They don't really just look for any random style and they say, listen, we have a drawing, this is what we're going to do. They don't compromise your visual identity. So it was nice to see my own style and my own visual identity being accommodating to different outlets, to different organizations, different clients. So it was nice to be able to tell a story in different formats as well. Along with that, I went into fashion more, and I went into humanitarian topics, being able to talk about things that matter most, be it a tragedy that happened in my own country, such as the August 4th blast, or being able to talk about mental health and how mental health is still somehow taboo in the Middle East, or just drawing something that is really luxurious and really high end, but at the same time, you can add this element of storytelling to it. And then I was positively greedy. I wanted even to do more with it. So that's why I went into publishing and went into children literature. And I can assure you, it's way harder to do something for a child rather than to do it for an adult. Because us as adults, we might have like a politically correct answer and just try to see how to say our opinion in the best way possible in terms of feedback. But if a child loves it, they love it. If they hate it, they hate it. It's as simple as that. So there was like a moral responsibility and a challenge to be able to really illustrate for children and to really capture the spirit that the child would look at as a reader in terms of visuals or the accompany to accompany text, or like the combination between visual and text. So it was really nice to be able to do that and go into publishing, because like it's a world of its own. And then I felt, okay, I've done this, I've done that. Let me do something related to music. So I was blessed enough to work with different DJs, musicians, artists around the world on cover arts and looping animations, something that really captures the essence of their single or their album. And it felt like it felt really nice because you have your own artistic integrity and artistic style. And through that, you are able to really bring out the vision of the artist and the vision of the client, so to speak. Because when I'm illustrating, I'm not doing it for me, I'm doing it for someone else. So at the beginning, it felt a bit weird, but when I actually went into it further, it felt really nice. But then I decided that, okay, I need to take a step back. I'm doing a lot. I'm doing a lot of things for other people, and I love it, and it's a blessing, and it's a privilege. But at the same time, I do not want to forget about doing something for me, because I started as telling my own stories and telling stories of people around me who shares a similar background and who share a similar upbringing. And this is where I felt that I need to do something for me as well, because of course, as freelancers, you might go through burnout, and you might feel that what I'm doing is also my career, but it's my hobby and my passion at the same time. So how can I do this balance between being able to do what I love for a living and doing it for the sake of just doing it? So for me, doing personal projects was definitely the thing that kept me going. And talking about me being an 90s kid, I spoke about my nostalgia, my childhood memories, the thing that we might globally relate to and regionally relate to as well. So they were doing like small little series of certain things that really made the thing, it made my creative fuel and or flair keep going. And then I'm like, okay, I've done publishing before, but I haven't written a book. I've only illustrated for other authors, but why can't I tell the story as well? And this is how my books came about. Like the first book was Indigo, and Indigo was published in 2018. And Indigo is a new age concept where it says that there will be a new kind of children. They are social rebels, and they are anti-war, anti-discrimination, anti-racism, anti-hate, and they operate on the idea of being socially rebellious, but in a way that they do it through empathy and through peace and through peace building and capacity building. And I wanted to convey this very large message to children about the fact that you don't have to be Batman or Superman to be a superhero. Your actual power is kindness, and being able to preserve that kindness a lot across the years from being a toddler onto being a teenager and then an adult. This is exactly your superpower. This is exactly how empathy comes about and how it really can make you the social rebel and be able to let you stand out in the crowd and be able to help others who might not have a voice yet. And then fast forward, COVID happened, and everything was put to a halt, and none of us expected what would happen, and each one of us had their life interrupted differently. And me being in lockdown and having to really face my worst fear, which is, back then it was solitude, and being able to sit with myself and really think about all the things that I was ignoring because I had a fast-paced life. But now someone or something came along and they were like, no, stop. You're gonna have to settle down. You're gonna have to be okay with sitting with yourself. And I did discover that I had a lot of mental health struggles, and I felt that something is not right and I really need to address it. And around that time, I resorted to professional therapy. And thankfully, I was able to be referred to a beautifully eloquent therapist where she really helped me vocalize and internalize everything that was going on with me, be it having a broken heart or dealing with my previous eating disorder, or just um, trying to really pull out everything that I was burying way deep inside and did not want to address. And I'm like, okay, I've done this and I'm journaling, I'm writing down, I'm going to therapy, but how can I put it in a body of work? And this is how I found the heart came about. I found the heart is addressed for adults between the ages of 18 till 34. And it's about the idea of all the fluctuations and things that you might go through as a teenager onto adulthood, falling in love, having your first crush, having your first breakup, knowing what it's like to sit with yourself and how hard it is to talk to yourself and how to go inwards instead of going outwards. And it was about being able to heal or finding back that essence. Finding a heart is not necessarily an actual literal heart, rather than finding that essence or reclaiming that essence that you might have lost along the way. And having this book and doing this book, fast forward 1 year later, through the economical crisis in Lebanon and through having COVID restrictions and through having a lot of social peer pressure about the idea that I'm a male Arab who is talking about mental health, but putting this in a body of work and seeing how other people are able to relate to it, it was beautiful. Because for me, the reward in what I do is just looking at someone else and seeing that spark in their eyes that I really went through this and I can really relate to this and I really felt this. And this led to the idea of having a moral slash social responsibility of doing something that matters and doing something that counts with the skill or the craft that I do. Because for me, art isn't about having something to myself only, it's about having things to other people as well. And it's about the idea of collective empathy and collective sharing and experiences, because we have a lot of shared experiences and things that we all might have went through, regardless of the age, regardless of the race, of gender, or geography, because it's about the humane experience that we might have went through. And this led to the idea that I need to tell more stories. I need to talk about things that matter. I need to have this social impact, even if it was only 1%. I need to talk about the idea that digital media and illustration is my own creative outlet, and me doing something with it for the sake of and for the good of the public and for the good of society, be it my own country or hopefully being able to expand globally through social media. This is really important, because the more we are advancing technologically and going through a technologically advanced, fast-paced life, we do have a need, and it's becoming prevalent even more, that we need to tell stories, we need to listen to stories. And for me, this is the beautiful balance between having something that is completely digital, but at the same time, we're going back to something that is very old and very ancient, which is the idea of narrating a story. And in my case, I'm visually narrating my own stories and other people's stories. So it was great. It felt really gratifying to be able to do that and talk about the little things, the big things, the good, the bad, the ugly, the entire emotional spectrum. And my worst fear ever, being an introvert or being on the introverted side, is doing public talks and public speaking. But I felt that I can do something with it. And okay, I can be awkward on stage, I can be shy, that's perfectly okay. But at least I'm being genuine and I'm talking about something that really, really matters, and something that I feel if I'm able to do, if I have the privilege of having a platform that is able to reach a certain number of people and being to be able to expand upon it, I can do that, and I can do it for other people who might not have yet had the courage or had the guts to actually do it themselves. And for me, if I'm able to do that and inspire someone else to do the same thing in their own special way, it's gonna be the most beautiful thing, and it's gonna be the biggest reward for me. And thankfully, through this, I was able to collaborate with different notable clients and different organizations around the world, and really try to convey the messages and always implement the idea of social impact, of moral responsibility, and of mental health, of course. And thankfully, I was blessed and privileged enough to actually have myself and my work be featured on so many different news and media outlets. And through that, to be able to even talk further about mental health, to talk further about the things that matter, to talk further about the fact that we will not lose the idea of empathy, no matter what happens and no matter how much we advance with age or with technology. Because when you operate on empathy, you really operate on the main thing that will keep you going. And this is something that is not exclusive to the idea of creative people, but it's for everyone who has something to say in their own way and in their own outlets and in their own tools and utensils. So for me, doing all of that and still doing that as well, this is where I feel that digital media and illustration specifically has this value and has this basis of social impact in my case. And hopefully other people will do the same with their craft. And thank you so much.
You get my...
I welcome any questions. I don't know if the connection is well, hopefully, because in Lebanon it's a bit of a hassle.
Getting my microphone turned back on in a second. Hold on. Technical difficulties on my end. Give me one moment.
Perfect.
Here we go. There we are. Well, maybe my audio is waiting. Hold on. Look at this. There we go. Here we are. Don't you love a good technical hiccup here? Thanks, y'all. The Zoom didn't want to unmute me, so here we are. Well, thank you, Rafik. That was super amazing. Oh, you did hear me. How strange. Well, anyways, we figured it out, guys. It's okay. Thank you so much. That was really great. I love looking at your work. It's always been inspiring. I remember the first time we met. Your work is very moving. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
I do have some questions for you from the chat. And again, anyone in the chat that has questions, feel free to add those in. We will We will go through them, and thank you for having empathy for the technical issues. It wouldn't be a live stream if something didn't work, right? I mean, come on, it's live.
Absolutely.
So you spoke a bit about social media. So social media can be daunting for a lot of artists and people, and just in general, but daunting for artists to navigate, kind of balancing the pressure of creating work and posting, etc. What advice do you have for young artists or newer artists looking to find that balance, like just between making art and sharing?
I would say in regards to this question that for any upcoming emerging artist who might be a bit hesitant of sharing on social media, or like feeling that they might fall into the trap of comparing their own selves or work into other people's self or work as well. Honestly, when I started, I was completely positively shameless about posting anything. I would post like a little scribble on a paper. I would post
Yeah.
like a little drawing that wouldn't necessarily technically look good, but for me, I'm like, this is something that I've done. So why not just post it? And maybe someone else would look at it and feel like, oh, I can do this as well. Or maybe I want to do this as well. And I know that you might feel pressured by the idea that everything on social media is so tailored and curated and very like well mannered, so to speak. But at the same time, and this is something that I can vouch for, people are looking for the genuine approach of things, be it an artist or otherwise. They look for the things that are completely organic and spontaneous. Of course, we do like certain content that would look visually pleasing or has a certain aesthetic, but at the same time, personally, even myself, I want to look at this raw approach to things. I want to look at the raw talent. I want to look at the progress of someone that I follow and I admire, because when you look back throughout the years and see where you began and where you are right now, you will automatically feel intrinsically proud, because this is how you did it, and you were not stopped by social pressure or like social media pressure, and you did not feel that I'm gonna have to take a step back and I'm gonna have to hone my skills and then come back on social media. It's not necessarily wrong, but at the same time, when you have the idea of sharing and have this mentality of being open to sharing, trust me, it will go a long way. And of course, you will look back and you might delete certain things, you might archive certain things. But at the same time, if you are able to do this from the get-go, it will be more comfortable for you later on to actually know what to use and when to post it and how to tailor it. But be shameless about your work, because it's an extension of who you are as a human being, and it's something that represents your mind and your heart. So that's a beautiful thing. And no one, maybe you will get good opinions and get bad opinions, but everyone has an opinion. That's okay, just like you have an opinion of your own. So you have that platform and that space to express yourself, so why not?
I love that. Yeah, we were speaking with someone not too long ago that had brought up a good point about social media, and especially I think Instagram specifically. Instagram shouldn't be your portfolio. Portfolio is for finished work and have it be presented perfectly and in a very nice way, very concise and very clean. Instagram is almost like a sketchbook, right? Where you can show those works in progress and show like the rough sketches. We see a lot of the like 10 years ago plus now, and it's really cool. Again, I think just to see everyone's growth as an artist or whatever you're working on, I think is really great. So thank you. Next question. Your work has a very surrealistic feel. What or who are some of your creative inspirations?
Oh, I love that question. So in terms of it being surrealistic, that's completely true. René Magritte, the classical painter, is one of my top inspirations, because what I love about his work is that you don't only look at it, but you can also hear it. And it's the fact that it's so quiet, that's how you can hear it. And I love that about him, because there's the subtlety of having a quiet place to wander around. And for me, I always try to invoke that into my drawings, especially when I'm talking about childhood or when I'm talking about mental health. I want this artwork to be a space where someone can wander around and feeling peaceful, somehow romanticized and poetic even. Other than Renee Magritte, Frida Kahlo is an amazing inspiration for me. And
Yeah.
even though she's from a magic realism painting period rather than surrealism, but I love the fact that she is okay with her being her own subject. And I was a bit reluctant at first to draw myself and being my own subject because I did not want to come off as narcissistic. But at the same time, I am the artist and I'm trying to say a story through my own world and through my own point of view. So this is where Frida Kahlo was like the encouraging factor of me doing that. And if I want to go more into illustration and digital painting or mixed media, Oliver Jeffers is one of my top idols.
Oh,
He's someone that I really look up to because he's a painter, he's an illustrator, he's an author, he's a writer, he's a storyteller. And it's just the idea that you can do more than one thing. You are not limited by your own creative outlet. It's only an extension and can go and vary in so many different directions. And he's also a reminder that I can always evolve, I can always grow, and I can always do something with whatever I have in terms of basis, and I can build upon that. And I don't have to restrict myself to a certain style. That style can grow just like I can grow throughout the years. My topics, my themes can grow because I am growing throughout the years. So I would say, artistically speaking, these would be my top three inspirations.
I love that's a good list. That is a solid list. Here is a really fun question. Thank you. One with Bear. What is your favorite childhood snack?
Oh, favorite childhood snack.
It's a good one. It's a tough one.
We do have this Lebanese sweet that is in the shape of a duck, but it almost feels like styrofoam. It doesn't even have a name. It was just something that was known to be Lebanese, and it was just like colored ducks. But the moment like you grab a bite, it just crumbles apart entirely because it felt like styrofoam, but at the same time it's so powdery. For me, this was one of my favorite desserts because it's colorful, it's fun, and it's like extremely sugary. Like looking back at it right now, it was extremely unhealthy.
It's just compressed sugar, like puffed sugar.
Exactly.
I love this. Okay.
But it represents a Lebanese childhood. I think that's why it always stuck with me throughout the years. So yeah, I think that would be it. Sorry that it doesn't have a name, but it like genuinely does not have a name.
I love that. Okay, everyone in the chat, drop those childhood snacks. Okay, next question. What is this doing? Your work touches on topics that can be very difficult for people to speak about or express. How do you, as an artist and a human who also has these feelings, how do you approach these topics with such care and empathy?
Truthfully, I know what I am about to say might sound a bit excluding, and I don't mean that, of course, but we all come from different walks of life and from different paths of life. And thankfully, I was able to grow in a household where it was encouraging and it was good to talk about things that might not feel okay. If you feel like you have a mental health struggle, if you were sad, if you were upset, if you were angry, I had a space where I was able to express that. And why is this happening? Why are you upset? So the idea of a why at this young age was encouraged. For me, it felt easier later on throughout the years to talk more about this. And having that along with therapy as well, it made me feel that, okay, I might have anxiety, I might have a bit of stress or nervousness about talking about something as severe or as important as mental health. Or in my case, the first time I actually spoke about mental health was through my own experience having a past eating disorder. And for me, honestly, when I was writing the article and doing the artwork, I'm like, yeah, sure, this is amazing. This is from the heart. This is genuine. This is unfiltered. And when it was posted, I did not really have an idea on the back of my mind that how will the public approach it, or how will the public accept that topic. For me, it wasn't about accepting, it was about knowing that this actually happens to a lot of people and not everyone's to talk about it. And because it was within the Middle East context, thankfully 90% of the people, they were like, thank you for sharing, thank you for saying this. I have this as well, I went through this as well. And when you see this, it's literally the reward itself, because you know you're not alone in doing this, and you know that people are going through so many similar things, but not everyone is willing or encouraged to talk about it, or maybe at their own pace or at the right time they might. But for me, when I spoke about this, I felt that, okay, I love how it feels. I love that people are able to relate, and I love that I am able to relate to other people as well, because I always felt like I am this outcast or something, like I'm looking from afar and I don't feel like I belong to a certain group or a certain message. So when I saw this, I'm like, amazing, just like they are happy, I'm happy as well. And through that, it became even easier to talk about this, and advocating for mental health is not necessarily always easy, but it's important. And for me, I'm gonna keep talking about it like until their ears bleed out, because I know it's important and I know that it needs to be normalized. Sadly, around the globe in different variations, it's still not normalized, but it's going somewhere and it's getting better, because people are really talking about mental health. People are really speaking up about things that matter and things that we didn't really speak about previously, like maybe 6 years ago. So yeah, I hope that answers the question.
No, that was fabulous. And yeah, I agree. I think we've come a long way, maybe taken a few steps back, but always, again, one step forward. And I think this came up in actually a couple of conversations that we had earlier today, of just finding that community, finding people that are feeling the same things that you're feeling, or have experienced the same things that you have experienced, or even just speak your same language. I think sometimes as humans, we think you're just like, I am just alone on this island of my own strange doing, and it's fine. I'm fine here. But then you're like, oh, it's actually not an island. It's a peninsula. And there's someone else that also feels this. And it's a nice feeling just to find all those other folks that are doing the same, thinking the same things. And so you've got that community. Next question. Also, I love, there's a lot of good childhood snacks being dropped in this chat here, which is real great. You put so much of your energy and spirit into your work. What do you do for self-care, or to ensure that you're also taking care of your heart and soul? What's your balance?
So usually, if I want to do something in terms of self-care, if it's artistic, it's drawing something for me, or maybe like just going back to things that maybe I'm not fully aware of yet, or something that I don't really know how to visually create yet. So I take the space to actually create certain things, or try to do a mixing and matching. And for me, it's self-care, because I'm going back into the thing that I love the most. It's not just a career, it's not just a hobby, but it's also a passion. So this is one way to go at it. Another thing would be in my city, like we have a seaside area, and I just go there, I grab a cup of coffee, I grab a chair, and I just sit in front of the sea, and I like just while having music in my ears. And it's really therapeutic, because it's your own time. It's the me time, where you just do whatever you want to do, feel whatever you want to feel, and just process every good and bad emotion. And for me, it's great, because it really puts back and it goes back into my work. It puts more into my work, because I'm able to really sit with myself. And, like it's always easy to talk to someone else, but it's not necessarily easy to talk to your own self. So it's also a practice to be able to have insight. And I think the funniest one is playing Animal Crossing on Nintendo Switch, because I love the idea of having like your own island, and the population is like a variety of animals, and just planting things and growing things. Like, it's nice, and the style is cute, and it's just like your own little world for like 20-30 minutes before you go back into the real world and having to do whatever you need to do. So yeah, Animal Crossing takes a big chunk of the cake.
I love it. We're all gonna have to exchange friend codes here. I need to tend to my island. Admittedly, I have neglected. I've woefully neglected my island. It's okay. I do also love just sitting out at the coast. You're close to the coast, which is amazing. What's your go-to playlist?
Oh, thank you. Okay, so basically, if I want to put it in top 3 artists that I listen to, and they are like in my daily playlist, Evanescence is number 1. Evanescence has been with me since I was 12 years old, 13 years old. and they are still with me till this very day. I love everything about the vocals of Amy Lee. I love everything about the music of Evanescence, and lyrically, it's absolutely beautiful and inspiring. Other than that, I listen to a lot of Halsey. Halsey is one of my
Very
favorite
good.
artists as well. And the third one would be Banks. Banks is like this fusion between something that is gloomy and poetic, but at the same time, it's genuine, it's honest, it's straightforward, it's an in-your-face approach. And like having these three in my daily playlist, it's mandatory, it's necessary, but like top one is Evanescence. It's like literally the epitome of my entire sonic audio inspiration, so to speak.
I love that. Again, another good list. That's maybe your next, if you need a side project, is to make some curated playlists to share with people.
I would love that. I would love that.
That's good. It's one thing that I think is really cool of like certain people when you're working, when you're creating, you're working out, whatever you're doing, have those go-to playlists. I'm always curious to see what the combination of music is, and like, do people stay in one genre or do you genre jump? And like, I have playlists that I feel like change seasonally, so
I can agree to that.
I'm just always very curious. I love that. So one of our key questions during Connected Inc. is, of course, talking about technology and humanity. Of course, for those out there that know Wacom and what our name means. As a Japanese company, Wacom does have meaning. The wa is harmony in Japanese, and then com is a derivative of computer. So it's all about people finding the harmony between technology and computers and having that kind of seamless interaction with it. So one of the questions for Connected Inc. is how technology and Wacom's technology is helping creativity and, by that extension, humanity. How do you feel that, or do you feel that technology is helping humans and creativity where we are today?
Absolutely. Just like everything else in life, you always see this duality, because you have the good and you have the bad, in a way that you can take it to a beautiful place and you can take it to a dark place, be it technology or otherwise. But for me, living in an era where it's literally booming when it comes to technology, be it software or hardware, and at the same time having so much access from the comfort of your home and having that actual outlet, for me, it will lead to beautiful things. Of course, it might be a bit scary at first because it's new. You don't know exactly what will happen to it. Or like, for example, the idea of metaverse, like there are so many conflicted, mixed opinions about the metaverse. But for me personally, I think it's going to be beautiful if we really are socially aware and responsible about how to use technology. It will lead to amazing things, be it humanitarian issues or having important social causes or being able to reach to the biggest number of people. And honestly, right off the bat, and I say this with complete honesty, in terms of Wacom itself, if I did not have Wacom back then, I would not have a career right now. I know that in the bottom of my heart, because it really felt like it fell in the right moment when I got this birthday gift and I had no idea what this product was. And familiarizing with this product along the years and doing something with it, it felt like I'm an artist. This is my main thing. I'm an artist, but having a digital extension, having an analog extension, having that option of being versatile in whatever I want to do, it really led to beautiful places. And for me, I feel so happy because I always wanted to do something. I just never knew what it was. And I always wanted to belong to something, and I never had that opportunity. When Wacom happened and digital illustration happened and me being introduced to that world, I finally felt that I have an anchor that I feel safe in and I feel that I can belong to. And having a creative community, be it regional or global or local, it feels amazing because us as human beings, no matter how eclectic or individualistic we might be, we always have a need to belong to something or someone. And technology, when it comes to one's hand, it can go both ways. If you either want to do something great with it, or you just want to, sorry for using this word, like to abuse it in a way that it might cause like a negative reaction to yourself or to someone else. But technology and humanity, they go hand in hand, but humanity also has the duality to it. So it's just about what you do with it. It's about how you decide. It's about your intention using that technology. So yeah.
I always feel it's the intent and energy put into it is what is going to be replicated in the output. So
I agree.
I love that. Well, this is a two-part question. I was going to ask you what's next, and then Christopher, our dear Christopher, asked if are there any tarot cards in your future. He thought Christmas was coming and was curious.
Amazing. So yeah, there are many projects. I'll answer the second part first. Yes, I am illustrating my own deck of tarot cards. I have started with it around the beginning of COVID, but I had to put a stop to it because I was working on the books back then. But I will be finishing the deck, and hopefully it will come out exactly the way I want it to be.
Fabulous.
So thank you for that question. And in regards to what are the next things, I just recently published my third book, which is called 3 a.m. and it talks about the correlation or the fusion between mental health and sleep. Like how sleep is a big part of who you are when it comes to your mental well-being, and how your bed is the last station of your thoughts before you fall asleep and wake up onto the next day. And it was really great. Like it was published in October 22nd, and now it's available worldwide. And now I'm already thinking about the fourth book, and it's going to be for children. I want to go back to children, and I want to talk about a really important cause and a really important issue that is happening worldwide. I'm not going to say what it is just so I don't give it away, but it's going to be something that will be impactful and equally positively controversial, because it's stuff that we don't really talk about and try to put like a drape upon. So I want to pull that drape and I want to talk about it, because children are like the most important thing to me, and they are the people who are emerging and will be amazing people when they grow up. So you know what, as they say, it's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. And this is how I operate on when I want to do something for children. So hopefully this will be my fourth written and illustrated book, and I would say it's going to be at the end of 2023.
That is exciting. We will look forward to that. I'm dropping your links to your website and your Instagram in the chat. If there are any more questions in the chat, feel free to drop those in. Thank you again, Rafik. It is always wonderful to speak with you. I think I say this all the time, but again, shout out to your sister for getting you an Intuos tablet. I love that story of like, I don't know what this is, but I think you need to have this, is really the best delivery for a new tool. They're like, not sure, could be magical. And it was, and here you are. So thank you again for that. Thank you everyone for tuning in. It has been a very wonderful day. It's a really great day. We've had so many good talks today, and I'm super happy to end it on this note with you. I know it's extremely late / very early in Lebanon. You did take a nap today, so I'm glad you've all... let me drop those links again. Sorry about that. I did too many links at the same time in the chat. You know me. Now I'm just breaking the internet over here. It's fine. In a good way.
And thank you so much for having me. It really has been a pleasure, and I always enjoy talking to you, and hopefully I was able to provide some insight, some sort of insight. And of course, like, my DMs are always open. If there's anyone who would like to ask any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer, of course.
Absolutely. Everyone give him a follow. It's quite great. And again, thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. We will be back tomorrow with Education Day. So Wednesday and Thursday are education days for Connected Inc. here in Americas. So we look forward to seeing everyone online. Thank you so much, and we will see you all soon. Thanks, everyone.